Hello, Adult Roles. How are you guys? This video is just to kind of summarize. Actually, before I forget, I'm going to close that door. Right, okay. So I wanted to just go through today's discussion with you just really briefly in the video. Normally I would do this on the Friday, but we have our test on Wednesday. And so I wanted to make sure you had this video in preparation for Wednesday's test. So on Friday, what we did was we went through the 5 steps of the decision-making process. You do need to know those, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But much more importantly than that was the conversation we had today, right? We carried the discussion forward. Yes, these are the decisions that we make, but we need to take ownership of our decisions. And that's where we kind of entered this discussion on the victim mentality. If you don't know what the victim mentality is, essentially victim mentality is the state of mind of believing that nothing bad in your life is your fault. That you don't have control over the negative circumstances of your life, and that you are waiting for other people or other entities like your parents or the government to fix your life. That's the victim mentality. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause my video now and watch this video. Okay, I'm assuming you've done that. And so you can see from her video there, right? From her video there that she gave 4 signs or symptoms of if you are in the victim mentality. 4 tests that you can give yourself. And so what I want you to do is think about your negative circumstances. We all have negative circumstances, right? Every single one of us has things that we don't like about our life right now. So think about your negative circumstances and ask yourself the question, are you in the victim mentality? So go through this list and kind of apply it to yourself. Some of us are. Some of us are in the victim mentality, right? We shift blame to others. It's never our fault. Whatever's going on, it's never our fault, right? We are constantly in the state of telling other people our stories in the hopes that we get pity and people on our team, right? You get this feeling like everyone's against you. Anyone who's not on your team is against you and trying to bring you down. And you feel powerless to create change in your life, to improve upon these negative circumstances that you were thinking about. If this sounds like you, then you may be in the victim mentality, which is not a good thing, because it's the victim mentality that leads us to not improving our own circumstances. The good news is that all of us have control over our lives. There's nobody else on this planet that controls our lives. Only us. Now you can say, well, no, the government and my parents, and they influence your lives. Strongly, heavily they influence your lives, but they don't control. Nobody makes you put on clothing in the morning. That's a choice that you make. Now it's heavily influenced, but it's your choice. And so this discussion we had about the victim mentality, right, is about let's recognize and make sure that we aren't playing the victim. Because if we are, then our ability to make change for ourselves is virtually destroyed. So we need to move forward out of the victim mentality. And how do we do that? Well, now what I want you to do is pause this video and watch this one. Okay, assuming that you did that, right? A very intense video with a pretty powerful story, right? But take ownership of everything in your life. Take ownership of your life and lead. Lead your own life and help lead other people as well. Not only will this grant you greater respect from your peers and your superiors, whether it's your parents or your boss or whomever, right? But it'll grant you greater control. And that's what we all want. We all want more control over our lives. So take ownership of everything. Now, I do have to say that taking ownership of everything does not mean everything is your fault. Okay? An example we used in class was child abuse. If there is a child who is being abused by a parent, it's not the child's fault that the parent is abusing them. Obviously, that would be ridiculous to say that. So when we tell the teenager, take ownership of your life, we're not saying You're here because you did something wrong and it's your fault. That is not at all what we're saying, right? What we are saying, though, is it is your life. Nobody else can direct your life. Only you can direct your life. And if you don't direct your life, then you will allow other people to direct your life. So that's kind of the point here, right? Take ownership of everything. Own your life. Own the problems within it. And then own the solutions to those problems. That's kind of the point there. This video is a bonus video. You don't have to watch it, but it's kind of interesting. And then we finished up class today talking about intuition, which is the gut feeling, right? That sense of...
Please come to the front office.
That sense of feeling to do a thing, that sense of instinct that we can't really explain, right? It just kind of exists. Now, scientists have done a lot of work, and it's basically, the gut feeling is a real thing. And science recognizes it as a real thing. We all kind of assume that it's instinct, right? Every animal on the planet has instinct. Well, so do we. We're just animals who have developed a frontal lobe and a cortex, right? The part of our brain that handles reason and logic. Otherwise, we're just animals. So we also have that part of our brain. It's in the back. That's why I'm tapping the back of my head. We also have that part of the brain that gives us instincts. So the discussion we had in class, the whole purpose of the discussion was to tell you, you are going to get gut feelings in your life. You already have been, and you are going to continue to have gut feelings in your life. You are allowed to follow them, even if they don't make sense. Okay? It doesn't have to make sense in order for you to follow it. We don't want to live our life entirely on gut. We also don't want to live our life entirely on logic and rational decision making. Or maybe not, that's not a good way to put that. We also don't want to live our life on pure logic, right? There needs to be a hand-in-hand instinct or gut feelings or intuition with logic together. I like this quote by Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift. The rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. We live in a society where you're not allowed to follow your gut feeling, and you're not allowed to say, I did that because my gut told me to, right? Everything has to make sense. Everything has to be logical in order for it to be real. That's the society that we live in, but that's not accurate. We're missing half the brain when we do that. This part of the brain, the instinctual part of the brain, is older than this part of the brain. What I mean is, this, in our evolutionary history as a human species, this part of the brain developed first. Millions of years before this part of the brain did. This part of the brain knows more. And yes, you can teach this part of the brain, you can learn, and logic is a fantastic tool, just as Albert Einstein said, and he knows about this kind of stuff, you would assume, right? But this is the gift that evolution and God, if you believe in God, has given us. So that was kind of the message we wrapped up with, is as you go through life, recognize that you're going to get gut feelings, and you are allowed to follow them. Okay, that catches you up for today. And remember that we are testing on Wednesday. I will be sending out an email to you regarding preparation and how we're going to do that. So just watch your email, and thank you, and I will talk to you later.